The question that isn't being asked of all the so-called experts is, can you please articulate the difference between ISIS and Hamas? Can you, Bill Kristol, do you think there's any significant difference in the ideology of those two allied forces?
I think Hamas would love to be ISIS, and they don't have the ability to be so, which is a great thing. There was a tweet, I think Iowa Hawk tweeted this afternoon, was that the Azeris are the Israelis if the Israelis had no arms.
Oh, my gosh.
I think there's a lot of truth to that. That is what the Middle East is about now. And Christians, sects like the Azeris, Muslims who don't want to go along with ISIS, with Al-Qaeda, with the most extreme form of Sharia law and dictatorial rule, totalitarian rule over them. Anyone else is at risk. And it is worrisome, to say the least, that the president doesn't seem to think anything big is happening there. And I do think this is the moment. Obviously, the news is breaking in the last day or two, so we can give them maybe a little time. But this is the moment for people who want to be president of the United States to step forward, and they don't have to.
I agree. What about, last question, Bill Kristol, Erdogan, who has been being as anti-Semitic as any national leader has been in the last 50 years, who is not already well known by the American people. Does Erdogan have to rethink this? Because ISIS isn't going to stop at the border of Kurdistan and Turkey.
I mean, he might. And, of course, sometimes the enemy of enemies becomes friends and all that. And then the good news is these groups, a lot of bad people are splintered in the Middle East, so they can fight each other and stop each other to some degree. But at the end of the day, you and I have discussed this so many times, there is no substitute for U.S. leadership, and there's no substitute for a willingness to use force. Otherwise, it's all just talk. And some of that force has to involve at least the possibility of boots on the ground. No one wants American kids to go back in and fight in Iraq, but a few thousand troops maybe in Kurdistan just to help them stabilize the situation, some air power to bash ISIS, where they're killing Christians and killing other sects and just to stop their advance at least to stabilize the situation. I think the president would have huge bipartisan support if he ordered such things.
I agree, and I hope he does. And you're right, it's late-breaking news, but we hope by the time the weekend rolls around, the president wakes up to the fact that ISIS is not the JV team, as he said to the New Yorker, David Remnick, in January.